I got hired at a hotel. On my first day, they gave me a horrifying set of rules. When I first saw the job in a newspaper snippet, I thought it would be life-changing. $300 per hour? Really? What could go wrong? I never could have guessed the horrifying truth about this hotel. When I started the night shift at the Evergreen Hotel, I found a piece of paper waiting for me. Written across the top in Sharpie were the words, "Rules for Employment." "What's this?" I asked Amelia, who was packing up her things. "Just the rules," she said, in an almost suspicious way. "Oh, like don't steal towels and stuff?" She grimaced. "Yeah, just stuff like that," she said nervously, pulling the bag over her shoulder. "Something like that." "See you in the morning," I said with a wave. She grimaced again. "Yeah, of course." Then she muttered under her breath something that weirdly sounded like, "If you're still here." I looked up at her. She walked out the automatic doors and into the parking lot. She had a bit of a jog to her step. "If I'm still here? Of course I'll still be here. My shift doesn't end until 7 a.m. What kind of slacker does she think I am?" Shaking my head, I picked up the list of rules and began to read. If only I'd known what I was getting myself into. I turned to the first page of rules. "You are allowed one free item from the snack bar per shift. Any further items will be charged out of your wages. Do not use the elevator between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. You may see a tall man with a red suitcase standing in the lobby on occasion. Do not make eye contact with him. Just check him into room 231 and send him on his way." I froze. Why was that sentence read in particular? Don't make eye contact? It was a weird rule for a hotel and made me feel slightly uncomfortable, but I shrugged it off as nothing and continued reading the rest of the rules. "If you hear someone crying for help in the pool area after midnight, return to your office and lock the door. Do not leave until sunrise. Do not enter room 404 under any circumstances. If any guests complain that the tap water is black, tar-like, or sticky, call the hotel owner immediately. You must ID every member of the cleaning crew in the morning. If anyone does not come up in the roster, do not let them in." What the hell were these rules? I began to feel like Amelia was playing a prank on me. I continued, "We do not keep any Bibles in guests' rooms. If a guest asks to use a Bible, we keep one in the back office that they can read in the lobby. Occasionally the computer may show vacancies on the 6th floor. Do not book anyone in these rooms. The Evergreen Hotel only has 5 floors. Do not eat the cookies. They are for guests only." When I interviewed to work at the Evergreen Hotel, they'd seemed like such a mature, stable bunch. Not the type to plan out an elaborate hazing of the new employees, because that's clearly what this was. Amelia, or whoever printed this up, had decided to scare the crap out of new hires. What a cliche. Haunted hotel. I gave a small chuckle, completely oblivious to the horrifying situation I'd gotten myself into. At least now her muttered comment made sense. "If you're still here." How many new hires had they scared off before finding me? Luckily for them, I was a horror movie buff and ex-military. I didn't scare easily. Just in case this prank got out of control though, I saved the hotel owner's number to my cell phone, cursing my dyslexia a few times before I got it right. There were more rules, but I didn't read them. Instead, I walked into the lobby, poured myself a cold cup of coffee, and returned to the front desk. It would be an interesting night. Hours passed and nothing abnormal happened. Until... ding. The bell at the front desk rang. It was a little past 3. I was sitting in the back office, drinking another cup of coffee, playing StarCraft on my laptop. Technically, I was supposed to be going over checkout logs, but I could do that later. Ding, another impatient ring. With a sigh, I heaved myself up from my computer and made my way to the front desk. It was him, the man with the red suitcase. I averted my eyes, focusing on the desk in front of me. I remembered the red text, "Don't make eye contact." Yeah, it was an immature hazing, but that didn't mean I was going to fail at it. I'm competitive by nature, and I was going to ace this thing. From what little I saw, the man seemed to be a tall, thin man dressed in a suit, standing in the corner of the lobby next to the grandfather clock, probably one of Amelia's friends, or that employee Dominic who I'd briefly met earlier. Oh, of course. That's why I'm not allowed to make eye contact. I'd recognize him. I broke into a smile. That's actually really clever. I looked down at my computer, pulling up the check-in screen for room 213. When I looked back up, the man was standing right in front of me. I froze. How'd he get there so fast? I hadn't even heard footsteps. He was just suddenly there. My pulse started to race, but I took a deep breath in, steadying myself. Can I help you?" He didn't reply, save for his fingernails rapping against the front desk. Tap, 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 tap. This is getting really creepy, really fast. I took in a deep, shuddering breath. No, that's what they want me to do. Get scared. They're probably watching all of this right now from the security cameras, laughing their bums off. Tap, 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 tap. I glanced up again. My eyes fell on his suitcase. He'd left in the center of the lobby, and that's when I noticed it wasn't actually a red suitcase. It was white. Based on the metallic smell, I knew exactly what it was. There was so much blood, soaking through the cloth, it appeared red. The substance dripped out onto the floor, welling in a puddle underneath the wheels. Just a stupid prank, I told myself. My eyes snapped back to the computer. I clicked on room 213, fed the new hotel key into the reader. I plucked the key out and slid it across the desk. Without a word, he took the key. I didn't look up until the sound of his suitcase rolling across the linoleum disappeared. When I did, my blood ran cold. The floor was clean. Where the suitcase had stood, where blood had pooled onto the floor in an inky mess, there was only clean wood. What the hell? As I stood there, thoughts racing through my mind, I heard it. the ding of the elevators down the hall, and then, not 60 seconds later, a cacophony of sound. Racing thumps across the ceiling right above me, as if several people were running as fast as they could. The phone began to ring. Calls flooded in from rooms 202, 207, 218. What the hell is going on the second floor? That's when my eyes fell on the list, pushed aside and forgotten on the desk. Just check him into room 231 and send him on his way. Not room 213, room 231. My dyslexia had made me read it wrong. I'd checked him into the wrong room. I was starting to believe this wasn't just a dumb prank. The phone continued ringing, and fear gripped me. I picked up the first call, and a woman's voice shrieked from the other end. "There's someone in here with us. He's standing right outside the bathroom door. Please help." I was paralyzed. What should I do? Should I call the police? Then, a horrifying thought came to mind. The elevators were not to be used between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. It was currently 3:30 a.m. What if the man or whatever he was controlling them? What if the elevators were a trap? Suddenly, a chill ran down my spine. I heard a slow, methodical dragging sound coming from the hallway behind me, echoing down the corridor towards the front desk. It was like someone, or something, was dragging a heavy object. I ducked down, trying to hide beneath the desk, praying it wouldn't see me. My breaths were shallow, and my heart raced. The dragging sound came closer and closer, and I could barely hold in my scream. That's when I remembered the rule about not entering room 404. What was in there? Could it be a safe place? A way to escape whatever was happening in the hotel? I grabbed the set of master keys and tiptoed out of the reception, making sure to avoid any line of sight to the elevator and the hallway leading from it. As I reached the 4th floor, I felt an uncanny sense of dread. I approached room 404 slowly, my hand trembling as I put the key in the lock. As I turned the knob and gently pushed the door open, a cold breeze hit me. The room was pitch black, but I had a feeling I wasn't alone. And suddenly, I felt a hot gust of wind. It was coming from directly in front of me. A dim ray of moonlight shined through the curtains. It reflected on a pair of eyes in front of me. A soft whisper, chillingly close, spoke out. "You shouldn't have come here."